you been seeing this? I've been seeing Luigi Mangione pop up in the news lately because apparently his lawyer made it to where they can't search his backpack for any evidence. It doesn't qualify under the search terms. I don't know much about the judicial world, but apparently he pulled some strings and he was like, yeah, you guys can't look at my boy's bag. And I was thinking about it, and Luigi Mangione, it's still relevant, right? That whole case and everything around it. And it's because, yes, it's an active case, but it did get me thinking some other thought, which is that everyone pretty much agrees that he's hot, that he's an attractive guy, that he's good looking. And it made me think that, do you think in the future, high profile killers will make sure that they get hot before killing a high profile so that their purpose or message doesn't get lost? Because we're still talking about him, and I think people still point to him and they're like, yeah, shout out Luigi whenever there's, some corruption in a giant corporation or something like that, typically the healthcare system. And I feel like his message is still potent because people like sharing his face around. They like looking at it. But what if he had a face that wasn't great to look at? I don't think people would be as propping him up to make him a mascot for the cause. And so I wonder if there's someone that's like planning a big killing, but they're also like working on their cut because they're like, well, I have to look good or else no one's going to remember me. They're going to be like, who did it? Oh, him? Oh, okay. Well, are we sure it wasn't like another guy? Okay. I mean, if it is him, it is. We can give him the award. It's not an award, guys. Okay, well, whatever. We can give him the honor. It's not, guys. It's not. I feel like we're losing the message here. But I feel like, yeah, there's a guy doing curl ups in his one bedroom studio apartment. That's not a thing. Either his one bedroom or his studio apartment. I think he's just doing curl ups so that he can, kill someone and then we'll remember his face. And it's not even about his face, it's just about his cause. He becomes a symbol, right? A martyr of sorts. Because every time we see Luigi, it's not just Luigi, right? The guy that took computer science in college. It's a guy that stands for this thing, right? Fighting against the healthcare system and its exploitation. So he's become this emblem. And I feel like it'd be smart if you're really trying to push a cause to have a face that wants to be shared, right? Like people, I know, oh my God, what a miserable world we live in nowadays. Now we got to look smacks just so we can be on dating profiles. But now we even got to look smacks so we can fight against the system. Oh my goodness, folks, what are we doing here? It's so hard to be a killer nowadays, huh? You got to be having killer looks to kill. That's why they call it that. You don't know that, but that's why. Because if you got looks that could kill, we won't forget you if you do. So it's funny though that even if you have killer looks, you do need a gun. You gotta understand that what actually is doing the job. Anywho, it does make me wonder, yeah. Do you think there's someone out there that's like, yeah. Do you think Clavicular, this is all one big ploy? He's like, no, he's trying to get to somewhere, which is like a kill. Because right now he's pushing the looks maxing thing, but do you think he's like ushering in this new wave of killers that are like, well, I'm all about, my appearance, and there's no better way to get my appearance out there than to become a mainstay in the news. And Clavicular, he already did the looks maxing thing, so I can't go down that route. What's the quickest way to get famous? And boom, literally, boom, they might kill. So I wonder, yes, will that be a trend in the future? That we start to see people that are just mogging on the timeline, right? You open up the local news and it's like, oh, this guy, well, it wouldn't be local, it would be national. Global. You'd open up the news and they'd be like, breaking news, this happened. And you're like, oh, show the picture. And you're like, oh, wow, look at that. But I wonder, do you think that's going to happen? I had my first e-bike experience. E-bikes have been terrorizing the suburban world. I don't know if you know this, but the suburbs are in turmoil when it comes to these damn things. I've been even hearing that some neighborhoods are getting banned, but I had my first run-in. You see, I was driving through a suburban neighborhood and I was at a four-way intersection. And something interesting about the suburbs is they don't just have bike lanes that are on the side of the road, like a city, right? Got to keep the bikes out. Sometimes they have a bike lane that's like in the middle of the road. It's splitting up the straight and the right-hand turn. There'll be a bike lane right in the middle of that. I guess that happens in cities too, doesn't it? But it's more obvious in the suburbs because everything's so spaced out. And so I was in this middle lane, ready to go forward, and these two kids were on a bike on my right. One was riding a bike and one was on him like a backpack. Like Yoda clinging to Luke Skywalker as he tries to raise his X-Wing out of the swamp of Dagobah. But I could tell, right? These boys were at this stop sign, and I had pulled up after them. And I could tell they were going to turn. And so I just waited. They were, right? They had the thing where they, like, their feet were on the ground. They weren't up on the bike, but I'm like, I'm not going to go until they go. There was another car, right across from me from the intersection, and a car to my right. But I was like, I'm not going to move until they go. And then I waited a healthy, like, 10 seconds. I was like, all right, let me put a little bit of foot on the gas. And then I just inched forward, and immediately when I did that, they cut right in front of me. I could have sworn that kid's left foot probably hit my bumper. I don't think it did, but it was that close. It was close enough to where you could, like, feel the heat of my car probably. And not once did he look over. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. I didn't think much of it because I always try to think 2 steps ahead because the worst thing you can do is, like, know a bad thing's gonna happen, and then you could avoid it, but you're like, no, but it's technically my turn. So I get to do what I want. I know, I think 80% of the parents I grew up around would probably get mad in that scenario. I just laughed and I was like, oh, that's okay. That's crazy that kids do that. But I know, yeah, 80% of parents I grew up with would have gone ballistic. They would have said shit like, I would have legally been the right if I hit them. It's like, okay, well, no. I would be the good guy in that scenario. Well, no, you wouldn't be the good guy. That's not, you would legally be in the right, but that doesn't make you a good guy. It's like, no. I think I think if all goes well, I should actually hit them. I should send a message, Maybe then they'd learn. It's like, okay, calm down, okay? I get it, your boss didn't give you the promotion, but can we not, like, bring that into the street, okay? If you hit a kid on a bike, that's not a street fight. You can't go to work the next day and be like, guys, I got in a bit of a street fight. I came up on a head. I kind of rolled right over them. I put the rubber to them. It's like, what is this? This is weird. What are you saying? These aren't phrases that exist. No. I really hit them with a car. Okay, well, that's a little. Greg, did you actually hit someone with a car? You bet I did. And they deserved it. I was in the right. I'm the good guy. And history will remember me as so. But yeah, I do wonder growing up how many times I was close to being in a bad situation, but there was an adult looking out for me. Because in that case, right, if I was doing the right thing, I would have hit the kid. But I wonder how many times I should have been hurt as a kid, but an adult was looking out. Like, there's so many times, right? I probably ran across the street and a car could have hit me, and it didn't because an adult had the foresight to be like, yeah, kids are stupid. Watch, that kid's going to run across the street. Except I know I never did that because we had a basketball hoop, right? In the front yard on the driveway, it was always tilted. So if I tried to shoot a basketball from the right side of a court, I'm always short. You understand how this works? But I had a rule. It wasn't my rule, it was my parents' rule. They were like, if the ball ever rolls across the street, you can't get it without letting us know. And then we will go get the ball. You are to never cross the street. And it was a rule. Even when I was in, like, high school and a ball rolled across the street, I would be like, so we should probably call someone about that, right? It's like, what do I do if my parents aren't home? I guess I just close up shop, right? I lost the ball. It's better than losing my life because that's what would happen if I crossed the street. A car would definitely hit me. My parents told me. That's why they have to go across the street themselves. They have the clearance. I'm sure there's a badge on their waist that they flash to the cars. Can't do this, right? Kind of like a legal drinking age, right? If you're 21, you can drink alcohol. If you're 21, you can cross the street without your parents' supervision. There are these rules in the world, and I thought this was one of them. But I was instilled in myself by my parents that you can't cross the street. It's too dangerous, so don't do it. So I never did. And I could tell that these kids, they were not given these pep talks by their family. I don't even think their parents probably know that they're not home. All I'm going to say, without saying too much, is these kids didn't look like me. That's all I'll say. I'm just saying, if they look like me, I don't think they'd be out there on e-bikes because they didn't look like me. And I think that's probably why they set themselves up for basically vehicular manslaughter, right? Or at least a little bit of a bump, right? Yeah, I feel like if they look like me, they probably would have checked both ways or just had awareness in general. Oh, here's a line I thought of the other day. Dudes be like, I have OCD. I got to put on my seatbelt before I start driving my car. Like, brother, that's not OCD. That's the law. I mean, in such cases. But some people do that. He said do. Isn't that fun? God, you know what? Sometimes people are like, this podcast is too serious. There's too much good advice on this podcast. I feel like we never really, right, undo the top buttons and just let things hang out. But you see, I still find a way to inject levity into this, just like you inject Bavarian cream into a nice Donut. Anywho, I heard someone say, I don't know if you know this, there's a new Star Wars movie coming out this week. No one really knows unless like you watch and follow Star Wars, but there is a new one. They got a new Star Wars hitting the cinema, I tell you, and it's called The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's the title of the movie. And I heard someone say that Mandalorian and Grogu got to be one of the worst movie titles. In fact, the exact tweet was, "The Mandalorian and Grogu is top 10 ugliest movie names of all time, high key." And I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, it is kind of ugly. Like, it doesn't really roll off the tongue, but it gets the point across. You see, both my parents this past week, I told them, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to see the new Star Wars next week with a friend. And both of them were like, well, what is this one about and who's in it? And I was like, you're never going to believe this. I can answer those both questions with the same answer. And that's kind of the magic of the title. It kind of gets the point across. What are the other Star Wars movie titles, right? You got The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope. What's the fifth one? Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. And those, what the hell are any of those movies about? I don't know. Phantom Menace, go. What is that movie about? You have no idea. I don't even know. I've watched that movie multiple times. I still thought about it when I was writing this point down. I'm like, the fuck does a Phantom Menace mean? And basically the idea is Palpatine's behind everything. He's the Phantom Menace. You get what's going on there? But it kind of works. Because now anytime anyone's like, which one's that? It's the one with the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's the one. It's great for normies, as they call them, right? I think the only way they can make it better to really have like broad appeal is if they call it The Mandalorian and Grogu. And then as like a subtitle say, this one's got Baby Yoda. Then people would really be like, oh yeah. The Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't get it. What is that? Some more glup shitto shit? But then when they read that little subtitle, they'll be like, what is, the one with Baby, Baby Yoda. We love Baby Yoda in our house. That's very nice. I'll go see it now. But no, people haven't been really stoked on Star Wars as of late. And I feel like the movie's not going to be great. It's going to be fun, but it's not going to be good. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't hate any Star Wars content, but I don't look forward to all of it. That's kind of where I'm at. You probably have TV shows or, like series that are like this where it's like you're a fan of it, but it's like you don't look forward to every piece of content. Like even Star Wars has a bunch of shows they've been coming out with for the past years. And it's like there's one called The Acolyte and everyone hated it. But even that, I didn't hate it. Like I watched every episode, but I never looked forward to it. I think even, right, it comes out every like Tuesday of the week. That's when the new episodes would be released. I think there were weeks where I kind of just let them bundle up. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't catch this week's episode. I'll get to it when I have time. But there was no like running the risk of spoilers because no one's talking about it online. No one gives a fuck. But it's not like I hate the movie. It's just I never look forward to it, right? It's kind of like if you like history, you got to read all of it so you know it. But there's probably some time periods and chapters where you're like, I don't really care about this one. That's kind of like what my relationship with Star Wars is like. I'll watch it all. I want to have the history of it, but I'm not loving every chapter. Like I'll read it in terms of, completion, get the holistic picture, but I don't really care for it. It's kind of like some of these things, some of the content they put out is kind of like flyover states. You have to go through them, but you're not going to look out your window. On a plane ride, you got to go through Wisconsin. Where's Wisconsin? I don't know. But you got to go through, Colorado. Into the middle states. That's what some Star Wars content feels like, and we're going to see. Some people are saying that this movie, Mandalorian and Grogu, starring the Mandalorian and Grogu, is going to just be a longer episode, and I think they're right. I think it's just going to be another... Their episodes are 45 minutes? The shit is like an hour and a half. It's just 2 or 3 episodes that they just put together, right? Mandalorian's like, I need a thing. Do you have a thing? They're like, I do have a thing. If you would do something for me. Mandalorian's like, what are you doing? Oh, what do you mean? It's like, we're different species. I don't think we're allowed to do that. Oh, okay. Sorry. But I can do something else for you. They're like, all right, well, yeah, there's like a thing I need. It's a very specific element. If you can get it, it should be quite easy. Nothing will try to kill you. And no one else is going for it. So it should be a quick like pickup drop off. Like you ever get bread at the grocery store? Just like that. Okay. Except there's not a lot of options. Bread these days. Can I tell you what? Oh my God, I never know where to go. Well, you got whole wheat, white rye, whole grain. You know. Sometimes they try to work in the Cheesecake Factory bread, but it doesn't taste the same from the grocery store. I'll tell you. But this is easy. It's just the one element. You go in, get out. It's quick. It's easy. Then you can get your little thing that you need from me, and then hijinks ensues. Right? That's all it is. But speaking of Star Wars, I thought about it. You know, speaking of a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Um, do you think that people from the past would have made more shit up if they knew how much we would believe them, simply because it was a long time ago? I don't think people in the past realize how much power they have. We look at stuff written down and we're like, well, yeah, that's the truth. But a guy wrote that. Like some dude was like, I'm gonna, yeah. You know, they say that thing, winners write history. This is an exhausted point I've talked about on this podcast. I think all history is fake because, like, someone wrote that. And you've gone out with your friends, right? You go to a bar, let's say, oh, some crazy stuff goes down, and then you come back and you tell your one friend that didn't go with you guys, like, oh my God, you'll never believe what happened. It's like Mark got into a fight and like he threw the bottle, but then someone's like, well, no, that's not what happened. Like the guy first bumped him. That's why Mark even threw the bottle. It's like, oh well, I don't know if I saw the bump, but okay, well, I mean, Mark did throw the bottle. Yeah, but what's his motive? Like, it's not like Mark has anger issues. Actually, Mark, why don't you speak for yourself? Why did you throw the bottle? And he's like, I don't know, man. I was fucking drunk as shit. I don't remember. You guys are you're my memory. Oh man, I thought we were gonna go to McDonald's on the way home. Whatever happened to that? You guys promised me, or was that just to lure me out? Right? That was a little cheese you put in the mousetrap, and suddenly my neck is clamped down by this 6-cent metal that was made in a factory. Isn't that crazy? Mousetraps are probably so inexpensive, but they take lives. Much to think about. You know those sticky traps that are for like insects? Do you think insects know like how cheap that trap is? Like if someone was to be, I guess going along with the theme of this podcast episode, imagine someone was shot dead by a gun. Well, at least there were some like steps to get there, right? Like the person had to be registered, or I guess you don't have to be registered, right? You don't have to have a permit or anything. No, yeah, you just go to your Walmart, you buy a gun, you buy some bullets. But like that costs money and you got to work for that money. And then, yeah, you go and you kill someone. It was very like premeditated, right? There's a lot of steps. Do you think bugs know that we just buy like a sticky trap and we put it down and then that was it? It's kind of like, yeah, you guys ever play Call of Duty? It's almost like dying to a bouncing Betty or a Claymore. It's like, you just put that shit there and I ran it. Okay, that feels kind of shitty, does it not? Because it's like you weren't even looking at me. You don't even care about me. Going along with Star Wars, it's kind of like when Andor killed, what's that guy's name? Cereal? Cereal. He was eating cereal, but no, his name is Cyril. Remember when Cyril spent like the whole first, sorry, these are spoilers for Andor season 2, but like Cyril spent, the first half of that season being like, I'm going to kill Andor. And then he got up to him and he was like, finally, you know what you did. And Andor's like, I don't even know who you are. And then Cyril dies. That's what it feels like killing a bug on a trap. It's like, I don't even know who you are. I just put that there. Oh, did you run into that? My bad. I'll just throw it out and replace it. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I'm going to get your kids too. You know how you just gave birth and then you went out to find food for them and you died? They're going to wander out, try to find food, and then boom, go in your replacement trap. This is dark. I'm sorry. But that's basically the idea, right? Like winners write history, and like even within this friend group of 4 people, right? The 3 that went out, they came back. They all have different stories. Mark doesn't know what happened. Friend 1 thinks someone shoved Mark, and friend 2 thought that Mark just threw the bottle because Mark has a history of doing stuff like that. Mark shouldn't drink, but for some reason they took him to a bar. What's with that? And then friend 4 is like, see, this is why I don't go out with you guys. And then he writes a hit piece about all 3 of them. So history is made up, right? Nothing, you can't believe anything that's real. Even stuff that happens today. You read the news about anything and there's like 5 different opinions that you could have. And it's the one event. So I do wonder if people from way long ago, right? That shit's like kind of solidified. And I have My dad always tells me this. My dad always tries to like throw out these, things that middle-aged women would get tattooed on their back, and it's like, yeah, this is the truth, Garv, and it dates back to thousands of years ago, so you can believe it. I'm like, I don't like that we say that because something has such like a long history and staying power, that means it's fundamentally true. Yes, it stood the test of time, but we have to factor in how stupid people are. You understand that, yes, humans are the one pushing that thought forward. It doesn't mean it's the right thought. It just means we've all agreed on it. It doesn't mean it's right. Just because a group of people agrees on something doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Because, like, what, Lord of the Flies? They all killed Piggy. They reached an agreement, right? That wasn't the right thing to do, though, but it happened. Just because things happen doesn't mean they're right, and we should point to them and be like, well, it happened before, so it can happen again. No. That's why people beat their kids. What? Yeah, because they're like, well, my parents beat me, so I should get to beat my kids. No, break the fucking cycle. That's why I never understand, right? You got these fucking boomers that are like, I don't want healthcare and I don't want college to be free. It's like, all right, why? No, you're wise. You've been on this world for however long. I'm gonna get something you say tattooed on my inner calf. Go ahead, spell your wisdom. Why can't we do that? Why can't these things be free? And they're like, well, they weren't free for me. I'm like, all right, that's funny. Now, what's the real reason? They're like, no, that's it. I suffered, so they should. It's like, okay, well, you're the same people that are complaining that the younger generations aren't advancing the world forward. Motherfucker, you're the thing in the way. Get the fuck out. You're a speed trap. You're those fucking things that cops throw out when they're trying to get someone in a highway chase. You're a fucking what is it called? Yeah, the line of spikes that cars drive over and then they puncture your tires. You keep puncturing our tires. We're trying to move forward. And you're like, So I wonder, do you think people in the past would have lied more if they realized how much shit we would have believed? They're like, no, just write it down. They're going to believe it. Yeah, we won that war. Print it. Yeah. We're the only ones with printing presses, right? Our boy Gutenberg, he hooked us up. Yeah, just print it. And then they'll mass distribute it, and then we'll flood out the truth. But I do wonder, because like now we're afraid to lie because it's like so many people have receipts, right? That's become like a common phrase. Oh, he came with receipts. They really proved his shit wrong. And then, 6 months passes and that person had receipts. And it's like, holy shit, whoa. So many point of views we're getting. But in the past, you could just say stuff. You could lie to someone and then move one town over and they'd be like, I don't even know if that person exists. I think that was just a ghost. That might have been a Phantom Menace. God damn. But that's the thing. Yeah, you could kill someone and then move like 3 towns over and they're like, whoa. There are no serial killers today. You can only get one and then you're done. And so that's why all these young men are trying to look smack so that they can get their one and cash in. That's all you need nowadays. You just need to look smacks, get a high profile kill, get out of jail, right? Be innocent in the court of law, and then write a book, and then boom, just appear on podcasts for the rest of your life, and that's all you have to do. That's the get rich quick scheme. You don't have to do all this other shit. All right? Either do that or make a website with AI, and then yeah, whatever. Those are the 2 paths. Those are the only ways you can move in this world these days. Also, I was thinking about it. Speaking of like Star Wars, do you think the Star Wars like universe, do you think the number 1 million would seem like a lot? Because think about it, there's so many planets. Like people just go from planet to planet. Even that show Skeleton Crew, which I did really like Skeleton Crew, these kids end up on a fucking ship and then they just accidentally go to like a bunch of different planets. That's wild. And so I wonder if like, because they can just travel planet to planet in the Star Wars universe, do you think higher peaks are possible? And so like 1 million doesn't seem like a crazy thing. But then I was like, no, I've watched Star Wars. There are some of the most like extreme examples of poverty in that universe. Like most people are poor. Only the Empire is the rich thing. So I was like, oh yeah, there's probably like extreme levels of poverty. But then I'm like, there's probably like extreme levels of wealth too. So like if you just tell a normal citizen, someone's got 1 million credits, that's a lot to them. But I feel like the rich are even richer in Star Wars because once you start involving multiple planets, it's got to be like, what, a million? I don't give a fuck about a million. And so that's why people like Elon Musk want to get to Mars because he has no concept of these things. The motherfucker wants to go to other planets, just like in Star Wars. You think a million means anything to him? No. So that's what I was thinking about. I'm like, I wonder if numbers hold different weight. Because here, yes, the everyday layman, oh my God, $1 million would be game changing. Elon probably blows up $80 million every other week when he's trying to like make some rocket. And he's like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, let me take some more ketamine and fuck it, let's blow some more shit up. Yeah, no, this is all stress testing. It's like, Elon, I feel like you're the only one getting stressed. No, run it. Run it right now. I swear to God. And where's my kid? I need my little bulletproof vest. I mean, my son. I was supposed to call him my son. The court was very obvious about that. Anyways, I hope this is a good episode. I don't want to like talk every week about like my health because it's just annoying. No one gives a fuck except me. But I've had food poisoning the past 2 days, and I called in sick to work today, and I've just had a headache all of today. It is, for context, it's 10:28 p.m. Monday, May 18th. I just like rested all today because my God, I don't want to give like explicit details, but Jesus, man, yesterday, you ever go to the bathroom and you have to take all your clothes off? I did that 4 separate times. And then I was doing like yoga positions on the fucking like bare ass naked on my carpet. It looks like I'm praying to a god they haven't even come out with yet. And I don't even know what language I was speaking. I was speaking like half tongues, half German. I don't even know those languages. It was not all Guten in my Hausen. Anywho, so if this seemed a little off, I'm sorry. It's always something, huh? But yeah, my stomach's still a little weird. But hopefully this episode wasn't too weird and you got some enjoyment out of it and it was good. And I've also been listening to Late Hour by Woe. That's my song recommendation for this week. So thank you guys always for the support. I called for more likes last episode. I said, let's get on the like button, and you guys did. So let's just keep it up. Like I said, as long as we're getting 10 likes on these episodes, I couldn't ask for more. So keep it up. I know it's like 30 to 40 of you that watch this. I want to say thank you so much for the support. And every week, whenever I feel shitty the way I have these past 2 days, I always seek solace in the fact that, hey, there is support out there. I just got to show up. So when I show up, thanks for also showing up. And thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. And I will talk to you next week. Okay?